Yo, what's happening? Hear ye, hear ye. The king has returned with a special broadcast. Now, today we're going to go over, you see the title, and I will be reading from a Center of Disease Control Prevention article, and the article is titled Racial and Ethnic Differences in Homicides for Adult Women in the Role of Intimate Partner Violence, United States, from 2003 to 2014. Now, from the onset, I had to take this shit to the yard. Couldn't I couldn't game while doing this because this particular topic it needs special attention. So I can't have my attention divided, between gaming and something that of this severity. So I need to bring this shit to the yard. All right, this article is of July the 21st, 2017. The authors of this and the author affiliations are shit. Oh, let me see this. Miko Petrosky, MD, Janet Blair, PhD, Carter J. Betts, MS, Catherine Fowler, PhD, Shane PD Jack, PhD, and Bridget H. Lyons, MPH. Okay. And we're gonna go through this. Well, I'm gonna try to go through this whole article. What's happening? Make sure you get my likes up in the chat. But the summary of this article. What is already known about this topic? Homicide is one of the leading causes of death for women ages 44 and up. Let's put a pin in that. Matter of fact, because as I was going through this article, I saw something alarming for you older women. Now this really is aimed at you divestors. So I want you to pay attention. Get your pens and your paper out. Hold on. Let me annotate this. Leading causes. Hold on. You know what? No. Let's just keep it going. 'Cause I might be reading it wrong. All right. And race vary by race and ethnicity. Nearly half of female victims are killed by a current or former male intimate partner. Hmm. Let's read that again. Nearly half of female victims are killed by current or former male intimate partners. What is added by this report? Homicides occur in women of all ages and among all races, ethnicities, but young racial ethnic minority women are disproportionately affected. Now, we're going to get to that later because when you say ethnic minority women, you got to throw in other groups as well. That's just not applicable to black people. So keep that in mind. Put a pin in that. We're going to get to that later. Over half of female homicides for which circumstances are known were related to intimate partner violence, IPV. Arguments and jealousy were common uh, precipitate circumstances among IPV related homicides. 1 in 10 victims of IPV related homicides were reported to have experienced violence in the month preceding their death. Okay, continuing. What are the implications for past health practices? Racial ethnic differences in female homicides underscore the importance of targeting intervention efforts to populations at risk and the conditions that increase the risk for violence. Now, we read an article, well, we skimmed through an article uh, last week or so talking about what's that? What you call it when women die during childbirth, postpartum death in women, and how Black women were disproportionately uh, more at risk to those death risks, to those health concerns, as opposed to white women. But the leading causes of those were due to what? High blood pressure and other health concerns. And we know that the reason that those health concerns are prevalent within the Black female populace is because they're the fattest demographic of people on the planet. I mean, not the planet, but the United States. So just like this, let me read this particular paragraph again. Racial ethnic differences in female homicides underscore the importance of targeting intervention. They're using the same language as in that other article. Efforts to the population at risk and the conditions that increase the risk for violence. IPV, lethally risk assessment, might be useful tools for first responders to identify women at risk for future violence and connect them with life-saving safety planning and services, teaching young persons safe and healthy relationship skills, as well as how to recognize situations or behaviors that might become violent are effective IPV primary prevention measures. Now, let me go back. Teaching young persons safe and healthy relationship skills. Let me say that again. Teaching young persons safe and healthy relationship skills. Now, when you're talking about IPV or domestic violence, period, is it always the woman's or the man's fault that a DV pops off? Absolutely not. How many times have we been with toxic women who have uh, verbally assaulted you, verbally incited you, or physically attacked you and physically provoked you, or not necessarily you, but someone you know? How many times has that happened? You know, she pulls out the knife, chases him with the knife. He pulls out the gun and shoots her. Now it's marked under, female IPV without giving any context to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, the bitch pulled a knife out on me because I came in at 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of nuance. And one thing that I have an issue with, because I looked up this article because I was just on the Red Supreme live stream, and this particular divester was going in talking about, every 5.5 hours, and, this, that, and the third. And they were leaving out a lot of context. You have to put things into context. You can't see, this is how you know that these divestors are liars, because they're only telling part of the truth. They're only telling half truth. They're not even telling half truth. They're telling like a third of the truth. They're leaving the other 2/3 out. You know. Well, what they fail to leave out is that when you talk about IPV, in a lot of cases, you have two mutual combatants. They're lamenting that more often than not, the woman comes out on the losing end of that mutual combat. You know. Now, I'm not endorsing domestic violence or IPV at all. It's wrong on both sides. Everybody needs to keep their hands to themselves. If you feel the need, brothers, if you feel the need to use a weapon to put some straightening to her, you just need to go ahead and leave. For real. And I tell the females I'm dealing with, don't bring that shit to me. You might be into a guy who slaps you around and throws you around the room. You don't want me to do that. Cause like Jay-Z said, when I do it, I overdo it. You know what I mean? Like, cause I'll tell you, I'm an emotional person. Even though I'm measured, I'm logical, I do in some cases wear my heart on my sleeve. You don't want to take me there. You don't. You want the cool, calm apex. You don't want the emotional uh, Super Saiyan Apex. You don't want that nigga. If that nigga shows up, it's gonna be bad for everybody involved. You know. But like I said, I think I got a good handle on it. You know, it's called controlled aggression. I've talked about that in prior live streams. But you don't want unbridled apex to show up. But hold on. Where's my place at? Okay. Continuing. Excuse me. Continuing to the next paragraph. Homicide is one of the leading causes of death in women. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me do something. Let me do something real quick. Like check. Okay, we back. All right. All right. Homicide is one of the leading causes of death for women ages 44 and under. All right. In 2015, homicide caused the death of 3,519 girls and women in the United States. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's it. That's it. Only 3,519 girls and women in the United States died in 2015. I'm curious to know what the total. Matter of fact, hold on real quick. Too fucking easy. Too fucking easy. Hmm. Real quick, we're gonna just do a quick digression. See, just give me the total number, nigga. All right. I don't want to have to sift through all this. You know, we're gonna have to come back to that. Let's put a pin in that. Rates of female homicide vary by race and ethnicity, and nearly half of victims are killed by a current or former intimate partner. To inform homicide and intimate partner violence, IPV prevention efforts, CDC analyzed homicide data from the National Violent Death Reporting System, the NVDRS, among 10,018 women ages 18 and under, no, 18 and over in 18 states during. Now, this is only they, if you know anything about sample sizes and statistics, they use a sizable, not the whole entire 50 states, right? But they use a sizable portion of the 50 states, and then you can kind of extrapolate that out to a greater number. Okay, for you dummies out there, 18 states during 2013 through 2014, the frequency of homicides by race and ethnicity and precipitating circumstances of homicides associated with and without IPV were examined. So they examine and they break down within this particular article, they break down the relationship, the relation to homicides. And they're not just talking about uh, IPV, intimate partner violence, but they're also talking about just homicide against women. Because the main issue that I have with this particular divester that Red Supreme was reviewing her audio is that these divestors, her and divestors like her, they make it seem as if they make it seem as if violence against black women, 5.5 hours and all this other shit is just niggas running around the fucking hood, just knocking black females off for no fucking reason. You know, no, there's a reason. It's called IPV. Now, I'm not saying it's right. Hell, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's anything. As Divested Zeller would say, it is what it is. My thing is that this shit goes on across the board. So you can't just make us the face of this shit. And you're gonna see some alarming numbers. Some alarming numbers. And I want you older women to pay attention to this shit. Now, non-Hispanic Black American, non-Hispanic Black and American Indian Native women experience the highest rates of homicide at 4.4 and 4.3 per 100,000 population, respectively. Because words mean things. What does respectively mean? We're going to examine that real quick. Bear with me. I told you this is going to be a dry stream. So if you're not, if you suffer from ADHD, you can't concentrate for long periods of time, I don't know what to tell you. Respectively. The Oxford Dictionary defines respectively as separately or individually, and in the order already mentioned. Used when enumerating two or more items or facts that refer back to a previous statement. I don't know. My ears just go up when they make a statement like that. That Native Americans, quote unquote, and Black Americans, quote unquote, have the highest rates of homicides amongst women. Have the highest are victimized as the highest rate of homicides, 4.4 and 4.3 per population, respectively. Well, I guess respectively to their population. Now, with that said, there are a lot of mitigating circumstances because, as we're going to see when we go further into this article, that it's not, or this study, I should say, that it's not necessarily IPV related violence. You got a lot of chicks in the hood, that engage in street activity. They get themselves caught up, you know, they get themselves caught up in homicide, in violence, you know. If it, if you're from my city, back in the mid 2000s, it was this particular female. I'm not gonna say her name, but she's well known through the city. And this bitch was a certified gangster. I mean, certified. I'm talking about running down on motherfuckers. They had her on the news. She was getting sentenced. She was in handcuffs, you know, gesticulating and all that other shit in handcuffs while getting hauled off for doing hits. You know what I mean? So these divestors want to make it seem as if, these black females within these black concentrated neighborhoods are just wielding violence. That's violence. That's just bullshit. You know what I'm saying? My mother's the third of 15. My grandmother had 9 daughters and 6 sons. And all of my aunties, including my mother's, are some fucking pit bulls. For real. And my mother's a little bit more refined. You know what I'm saying? She'd have calmed down. But shit, I remember my mama would put on a face with me and my little brother and shit. But every time we go back down to Arkansas and I see her, even when I was an adult, and she hook up with her sisters, I look at my mama kind of side eyed. I'm like, you kind of switched up, you kind of changed this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my mama around her sisters is different. You know what I mean? You see a different side of her. Okay, continuing. Over half of all homicides, 55.3%, were IPV related. Let me read that again, because the way in which these divestors are wording this shit, because they're not telling the whole story. And this is CDC, by the way. This is CDC, by the way. I'm gonna put this article in the first pinned comment below. But the way that these divestors are wording this shit, they make it seem as if black men are just running around like some fucking maniacs, just killing black women at random. Uh, Excuse me. Let me read this again. Over half of all homicides, 55.3%, were IPV related. 11.2% of victims of IPV related homicides experienced some form of violence in the months preceding their death. And argument and jealousy were common precipitate circumstances. Targeted IPV prevention. Okay, we already read this in what you call it, in the summary and all that other shit. What up, Asia? Yeah, we doing something a little different today. I had to take it to the yard with this one. I had to take it to the yard with this one. Okay, continuing. CDC's NVDRS is an active state-based surveillance system that monitors characteristics of violent deaths, including homicides. The system links three data sources: death certificates, coroner, medical examiner reports, and law enforcement reports to create a comprehensive depiction of who dies from violence, where and when victims die, and factors proceeded to contribute to the victim's death. This report includes NVDRS's data from 18 states during 2003 through 14. Five racial ethnic categories were used for this analysis: white, black, American Indian slash Alaskan Eskimo, uh, Asian Pacific Islander, and Hispanic. Persons categorized as Hispanic might have been any race. So you got black Hispanics, white Hispanics, etc., etc. All right. Persons categorized as one of the four racial populations were all non-Hispanic. Okay. Analysis were limited to female descendants ages 18 and over. IPV-related deaths were defined as those involving intimate partner homicides. The victims was an intimate partner, i.e., current, former, or unspecified spouse or girlfriend of the suspect. Other deaths associated with IPV, including victims who were not the intimate partner. Ah, so i.e., family, friends, others who intervened in IPV, first responders, or bystanders, or jealousy. Hmm. Let me read that again, because even this isn't, when you're talking about intimate partner violence, you're not necessarily talking about boyfriend and girlfriend, fiancés, spouses of any sort. It could be a family feud, a feud between friends, um, motherfuckers who intervened, and then he or she ends up getting clapped up. First responders who are called to the scene, and then they get clapped at. Then you got bystanders, niggas who ain't even got shit to do with it, and then the nigga who's into it with his girlfriend up to Thule, or into it with a op, which can, if you got an op who you've been beefing with for years on end, that can fall under the category of IPV. Wow, this is fucking crazy. In the last category, it says, or jealousy. So you could have somebody who is stalking you, who may be jealous of you, and who may, God forbid, delete you. And then when they go through this person's social media and shit, they see that this person made dummy accounts, ghost accounts, and was watching you for months on end and whatnot. So they can deem that jealousy was played a factor there. Well, let me see what she said. Did you hear about Peter Nager trying to sell? Come on now, Asia. We're talking about this. We're not talking about the sperminator. Stop doing that. For real. Stop doing that shit. Stop hopping in my chat trying to obfuscate and give cover fire. Stop doing that shit. Don't do that shit again. We're talking about this. We're not talking about that. If it's not germane to the topic, I'm gonna ask you, please don't do it. Stay focused. All right. Deaths where jealousy, such as a love triangle, was noted as a factor where were included only when they involved an actual relationship versus unrequited interest. So this is not, they're not just, okay. All right. So they're not just talking about, so when they talk about jealousy, they're not necessarily, they're talking about an intimate lovers triangle of some sort. Okay. So I take that back. I redact that former statement about all the other shit. I got ahead of myself. Violence experienced in the preceding months refers to all types of violence, robbery, assault, or IPV that was distinct and occurred before the violence that killed the victim. There did not need to be any causal link between the earlier violence and the death itself, i.e., victims could have experienced a robbery by a stranger 2 weeks before being killed by her spouse. So some of this shit is completely unrelated, but they're just saying that the months preceding the person's death, they more often, well, 11.2% of the time they experience violence of some sort prior to that. Okay. Rates were calculated using intercensal and post-censal bridges, race population estimates compiled by the CDC's National Center of Health Statistics and were age adjusted to the 2010 standard US population of women ages 18 and over. Okay. Socio-demographic characteristics and precipitating circumstances across racial ethnic groups were examined using chi-square, the Fisher's exact test, two-sided p-value less than 0.05, whatever that means, were considered statistically significant. Differences in victims and incident characteristics by race, ethnicity were examined by using chi-square, the official executives. Okay, all right, got it. What's going on? Moving on. From 2003 through 14, a total of 10,018 female homicides were captured. So over damn near a 10-year span, only 10,018 female homicides were captured by the NVDRS. Among the, let me not poo-poo that, okay? Let me not poo-poo that. I'm not saying only, like it should be more, so don't give, don't take my tone out of context. But I'm just saying, um, how many abortions happened in that time frame? I'm curious because I can pull that up and we can see that 1,000. As a matter of fact, this year alone, the first 2 weeks of the year of 2020 eclipsed that number by 4,000 amongst Black people alone. Now, this is just the total number of female homicides across all ethnicities. If you want to talk about black abortion, 1,000 a day per Grand Rapids. What's the name of that article? You know it. I done fucking cited that article plenty of times. You motherfuckers know what the fuck I'm talking about. You can look it up. All right, continuing. Among these, 1,835 are 18.3% were part of a homicide-suicide incident. Today's the day. Suspect died by suicide after uh, protracting homicide. It's just a fancy way of saying somebody got clapped and then somebody clapped somebody and then they clapped themselves. Okay. Homicide victims range from age 18 to 100. The overall age adjusted rate of 2.0 per 100,000 women by race and ethnicity, non-Hispanic black women had the highest rate of dying by homicide by 4.4 per 100,000. Now we've already talked about that it's not IPV doesn't mean necessarily um, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, fiance. It could be a bitch could have been in the streets doing some shit she ain't had no business doing, or she could have popped off to the wrong nigga at the wrong time and got her issue. All right, followed by American Indians and American Native with 4.3, Hispanic 1.8, non-Hispanic whites 1.5, and Pacific Islander / Asian is 1.2. Uh, Continuing, approximately one third of female homicide victims. Now, hold on, let me stop right there because those last three ethnic groups they were down in the ones as opposed to the American Indian and Black is in the fours. I'm not poo-pooing that. That's a big disparity. You got three whole decimals higher. But like I said, context is key. Context is key. Some, if I could just be frank, some of these females ripping and running these streets. You see these hot girls. You see these females out here. You see them on videos waving pistols in the cameras and shit, trying to get into that street shit. You know what I mean? You get in that street shit, you know? All right. Now, approximately one third of the victims, homicide victims, are 29.4% were aged 18 to 29. A larger portion of non-Hispanic Black and Hispanic victims were in this youngest group. Now we're going to get to that. Now they want to throw us in there first. Now we're going to get to it later, but the Hispanics from 18 to 29, they lead. They lead, and it ain't even close. Like you're going to see this shit. What it is close, but they want to make sure that they put Black and Hispanic victims were in this youngest age group than were non-white and Asian Pacific Islanders. The largest portion of victims were never married or single at the time of death, 38.2%. This proportion was highest among non-Hispanic Black victims at 59.2%. So 59.2% of Black females who were deleted or who were victims of homicide were not married. So I'm guessing baby mama drama. Because trust me, I know a baby mama is the only motherfucker that could take you there. You know what I mean? I done been in plenty of relationships or dalliances with females who weren't my baby mama and they did some scandalous shit. And I just did like Nino Brown and canceled her. But my baby mama, ooh, let me tell you, I never committed any domestic violence against her whatsoever. Nothing like that. But I'm telling you, she If there was any female who took me there, took me to that headspace, it definitely was her. I tell you that. 1/3 of victims had attended some college or more. Hmm, interesting. So let's see. These colleges who are, how you say, programming these women with this feminist ideology, then they come back and bring this this new age feminist ideology to their man or to their baby daddy, and then shit goes left. Are you seeing the correlations here? Are you connecting the dots? History of college attendance was highest among non-Hispanic white. Hmm. So Becky, listen to me. I know you go to I know you go to university. You take all these women studies classes and all these feminine and Sojourner Truth and all this other shit. And what's the other one? What's the fuck that broad's name from back in the day? I can't remember. But then you want to bring that to your boyfriend. He's not hearing that shit. It says it right here. History of college attendance was highest among. Hold on, let me go back. Let me go back. 1/3 of victims had attended some college or more. History of college attendance was highest among non-Hispanic whites at 36.8%, and Asian Pacific Island victims at 46.2%. Wow. So Ling Ling, listen to me. Listen to me, baby. You already know that the Shogun ain't playing that shit, man. The motherfucking Shogun is not having that shit. He did not send you to college to come back and bring your fucking feminist bullshit to him. That's not what he sent you there for. You know what I'm saying? He sent you there to become a doctor, a fucking nurse practitioner, or whatever, fucking mathematician or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is a teachable moment for everybody. You know what I mean? We all gonna learn something today. You feel me? It's that good. It's that good espresso right there. Oh, you motherfuckers in trouble too. I got a full cup of Joe. Approximately 15% of women of reproductive age, 18 to 44, were pregnant or 6 weeks postpartum. Hmm, interesting. Firearms were used in 53.9% of female homicides, most commonly among non-Hispanic Black victims at 57.7%. Sharp instruments, 19. Now I wish they would have made more context right there, because now it just seems that the sentence, well, after they said non-Hispanic Black victims, firearms 57.7%. It did put a period there. So just break that off from your mind real quick. Okay, continuing. Sharp instruments at 19.8%, hanging, suffocation, or strangulation at 10.5%, and blunt instruments at 7.9% were other common mechanisms. Over half of all female homicides, 55.3%, for which circumstances were known, were IPV related. So over half of these were IPV related. Okay. Now we've already established that IPV doesn't necessarily mean boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. Okay. It could be, I don't know, use your imagination. A larger percentage of IPV related female homicides were perpetuated, perpetuated by male suspects. Then were non-IP related homicides. Okay, 98.2% versus 88.5%. So 88.5%. Let me read that again, because that's tricky. A larger percentage of IPV related female homicides were perpetuated by male suspects than were non IPV related homicides, 98.2% versus 88.5% respectively. There goes that word respectively. Interesting. Circumstance information was known for all 4,442 IPV-related homicides and 3,586, 64% non-related IPV, non-IPV related homicides. Oh, okay, I get it. Hold on, let me go back. Let me go back. So 98% of 98%. Let me go back to the previous paragraph. In IPV related homicides, 98% of the suspects were male. In non IPV related homicides, 88.5% of the suspects were non male. So, more often than not, if a, okay, I think I got it now. Non IPV, continuing with the next paragraph, non IPV related homicides and was examining further. Among IPV related homicides, 79.2 and 14.3 were perpetuated by a current or former intimate partner, respectively. There's that word again. Approximately 1 in 10 victims experienced some form of violence in the months preceding their death. However, only 11.2% of all IP-related homicides were precipitated by another crime. What does that mean? Okay. 54.4% of these incidents involved another crime in progress. Hmm. Let's read that again. 54.4% of these incidents involved another crime in progress. So let's put on our imagination cap, shall we? So you have a female, right, who's riding with her drug dealing boyfriend, right? The ops slide up on said drug dealing boyfriend. They spray the car. She gets killed. That gets classified as IPV. But there was another crime in progress. Let's say he was on his way to a drug deal, or she went with him on a drug deal. Get it? You get it? So you got these divestors who are trying to hit us with the every 5.5 hour stick, but their own sistren are putting themselves in predicaments where they are susceptible to violent crimes, i.e., dating a criminal who lives a very dangerous lifestyle. But ooh, girl, he's exciting, and we get called lame. We get called, they say we're shaming, blaming, and explaining when we point this out, though. When we point this out, oh, you want to bring down violence against women? Quit dating violent motherfuckers. Are not necessarily because. Let me just say this: I'm violent. If I can just be frank, I'm violent. But I don't live a lifestyle. I don't live a criminal lifestyle to where if I take my shorty out on a date, I have to worry about an op riding up on us at a stoplight, spraying the whole fucking load. You know what I mean? There's a difference. And when I mean load, that's Kansas City slang for car. That's what we call cars back home. So if I'm riding in my load, that's my car. So, but we castigate these women. We critique them for dealing with these criminals and whatnot, for dealing with the criminal element. And then when they die, we get blamed for it. Okay. So I'm gonna have to take the blame because Keisha decided to date Tyrone. And Tyrone is a known gang member and a known drug dealer and a known just ruffian in the streets. But I have to take the blame for it. Okay. Let's read that again. 54.4% of these incidents involved another crime in progress. The most frequently reported other precipitating crimes were assault, homicide at 45.6%, rape, sexual assault at 11.1%, and burglary at 9.9%, and 29.7% of IPV related homicides. The argument preceded the victim's death. So let's see. Brother's out with his shorty, right? They cross paths with a group of gentlemen. The female incites, well, not necessarily incites an argument, but she doesn't shut her fucking mouth and walk away. So she fans the flames. Now her man is in a predicament where he has to defend both of their honors. Weapons get drawn, she gets killed. That gets placed under IPV. Now had she shut the fuck up and kept that shit pushing, she'd still be alive today. Okay. This occurred more commonly among Hispanic victims than among non-Hispanic Black and white victims. Okay. Approximately 12% of IPV-related homicides were associated with jealousy. Okay. This circumstance was also documented more commonly among Hispanic victims than among non-Hispanic Black and white victims. So let me get this straight. So when it comes to love triangles and jealousy over your ex-girlfriend and whatnot, Jorge is leading the pack. He's got Tyrone and fucking Brad B. Okay. So as long as we're tracking, all right, among non-IPV related female homicides with known suspects, the victim's relationship to the suspect was most often that of acquaintance. 19.7% stranger, 15.7% another person known to the victim in which the exact nature of the relationship or prior interaction was unclear. 15.2% are parent. 15.2%. All right, okay, got it. Table number 3. We'll click on that later. Non-black, non excuse me, non-Hispanic Black victims were significantly more likely to be killed by an acquaintance. What does that word acquaintance mean? I got an idea of what it means, but acquaintance. The Oxford Dictionary accept something reluctant. It's acquiesce. Spell check, quaint. There it is. Acquaintance. A person's knowledge or experience of something. A person one knows slightly, but who is not a close friend. Okay. That's vague though, because a gentleman who you dating for 6 months could be an acquaintance, you know. All right, 29% then were non-Hispanic white victims, 14% Asian Pacific Island victims, and Hispanic victims were significantly more likely to be killed by a stranger at 28.6 and 24% respectively, than were non-Hispanic white victims at 13.9%. Fewer than 2% of non-IPV related homicide victims experienced violence during the preceding months, data not shown. However, a substantial percentage of these homicides, 41.6%, were precipitated by another crime. 67.2% of these incidents involved another crime in progress. Okay. The type of other precipitating crime was most frequently robbery at 31.1%, assault, homicide. It's the same fucking thing. Homicide, whatever. All right, 21.3%, burglary, 12.2%, rape and sexual assault, 11.2%. Female homicides, including Asian and Pacific Islander victims, were more likely to be precipitated by another crime at 57%. Okay. All right, we're not going to belabor all this. Discussion. All right, let's get to the charts. Table number 1. Number and percentage of homicides of females aged 18 and over by victim and incident characteristics, National Violent Death Reporting System. That is NVDRS. 18 states from 03 to 14. Okay, we're going to go from left to right. From ages 18 to 29. White non-Hispanic, 1,113 at 21.4%. Okay, Black non-Hispanic, now this is based on population, 1,359%. Now this doesn't specify whether this is white on white, IPV, black on black, Asian on Asian, Indian on Indian, Hispanic on Hispanic. It doesn't specify that. Continuing. Black non-Hispanic, 38.7%, Asians, 87, 36.3%, Asian Pacific, no, excuse me, scratch that. American Indian, 87, 36.3%, Asian and Pacific Islander, 59, at 25%. Hispanic at 40%. Now, it doesn't give the exact number. It doesn't give a, you know what, I'm just going to read the percentages because this shit is kind of confusing. Okay, 30 to 39. Whites, 19%. Black, 23.6%. Indians, 23. You know what, I'm going to say Native Americans, 23.3%. Pacific Islanders, 25%. Hispanics, 29.8%. So coming in first from 30 to 39 is Hispanics, Islanders, Black, Native Americans, and whites. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to read the numbers on this because this is a spike up. All right, from 40 to 49, whites at 1,126 at 21.6%. Now compare that to 30 to 39, which is at 990%. And compare that to 18 to 29, which is 1,013, which is 21.4%. Okay, moving on to the black. Black is at, from ages 40 to 49, 704. So they're damn near 500 more than blacks are from ages 40 to 49. But with the blacks, it's still 20%. But let's move down. From 50 to 59, whites are 824%. 824 at 15.8%. Blacks are 352 at 10%. Now watch this. 60 and up, whites are 1,153 at 22.1%. Blacks are 270 at 7.7%. So for all you old divestors in your 40s and 50s and you're looking for a Brad to retire with, just keep this in mind. 60 and up, IPV related homicides are the highest in that age bracket amongst non-Hispanic whites. So just understand that. And it is the lowest when you talk about black people. Black people, we're the highest from 18 to 29. And we start going down. From 18 to 29, well, I'm gonna just read this number. From 18 to 29, black folks, we're 1,359, 30 to 39, 829, 40 to 49, 704, 50 to 59, 352, 60 and up, 270. Whites, on the other hand, 18 to 29, 1,113, 30 to 39, 990, 40 to 49. Then the shit spikes back up, 1,126, and 50 to 59, 824, and 60 and up, 1,153. Let's keep going. Marital status. Now, I hope I made that succinct. I hope you guys weren't confused with that. I just broke it down by age brackets, and I'm just comparing white to black. I might sprinkle in some Hispanic. Really, the Native Americans and Pacific Islanders, I'm not even going to deal with them there. Not a factor really in this whole conversation. But yeah, it's looking like, yeah. Now from 18 to 29, as far as the percentages go, with the Hispanics, their percentage is 40. And then 30 to 39, their percentage is damn near 30. Then it starts tapering off from 40 to 49. So they're following the same path as black folks are. As you know, when they're young, the shit's high, and then as they get older, the shit goes down. White folks, on the other hand, their shit is pretty high when they're young, but then it starts tapering off. But then when it hits the 40s, it spikes back up, then it tapers off in the 50s. Then when they get to the 60s, it spikes back up again. I don't know why that is. It's interesting though. All right, marital status. Married, civil union, or domestic partnership. Total number 3,156, or 32%. Whites are 1,999. That's at 38%. Blacks 751 at 21.9% respectively, and Hispanics 240 34 at 28.7%. All right. Never married or single. Total number is 3,766 at 38.2. Whites 1,183 at 23%. Blacks 2,035 at 59.2%. Okay. Hispanics 378 at 46.4%. All right. Let's move down. Separated, divorced, or widowed. Whites 1,954%. That's 38% clip. Blacks 651 at 18.9%. Now, some may argue that's because you're not as married as much as the white man is. Okay, whatever. Tomato, tomato. Hispanics 203 at 24.3%. All right. High school graduate or GED equivalent. I'm not going to blame you with the total number. Let's just get to it. Whites 982 at 21.2%. Blacks 749 at 25.6%. Hispanics 298 at 39.8%. So yeah, these Hispanics, bro. Let me tell you. Wait a minute, they got two. No, hold on. Less than. My bad. That was what I just read. I did not see that less than sign. That first category with the high school graduate or GED equivalent, that was less than. So you don't have one. Now I'm talking about a high school grad, people who do have a high school graduate, or who do have a high school diploma or GED. Whites, 1,952 at 42.1%. Blacks, 1,261 at 43%. And Hispanics at 280 at 37.4%. Now some may add, well, black, black people ain't getting many degrees, they ain't graduating high school. Woo, woo. All right, whatever. Now some college or more. Whites, 1,707 at 36.8%. Blacks, 921 at 31.4%. Hispanics, 170 at 22.7%. Let me get to the Pacific, this Asian Pacific Islander at 97 at the highest percentile at 46.2%. Like I said earlier, lean, they send you off to college to learn, get a degree, and bring the shit back. Not to learn this feminist bullshit. Okay. Pregnancy status. Pregnant or less than 6 weeks postpartum. Whites, 120 at 12.9%. Blacks, 134 at 18.6%. Hispanics, 31 at 14.6%. Okay, method firearms. Okay, firearms. I'm not going to read the total number. Firearms, whites at 53.4%. Blacks at 57.7%. Hispanics, 49.4%. Sharp objects, whites 17.5%, blacks 20.9%, Hispanics with their fucking machetes at 25.7%. This shit crazy, bro. Hanging, suffocation, or strangulation. Whites 10.8%, blacks 9.5%, Hispanics 12.9%. So they hanging bitches too. They chopping them up and hanging them. That's crazy. Blunt objects. Whites 9.0. Excuse me. Whites 9.0. I didn't want you to get it screwed because I said 9 and I paused and said 9. Anyway, black 6.3%. Hispanics 5.6%. All right, here we go. Total IP. Now this is the total. Total IP related. We go up. Okay. Let's go up. Total IPV related. Whites 2,446 at 56.8. Blacks 1,360 at 51.3%. Hispanics 406 at 61.0. So who is, and hold on, Native Americans 112 at 55.4%. Asian and Pacific Islander 118 at 57.8%. So who is the face of IPV? According to this, because I'm looking at the total of IPV related incidents, we got Hispanics coming in number one at 61.0. We got Asian and Pacific Islander coming in at second at 57.8. Then we got whites coming in at third, getting the bronze medal at 56.8%. Then we have Native Americans coming in at fourth at 55.4%. And the last on this entire study, as far as total IPV related incidents, is the brothers. So put some fucking respect on our name. Quit breathing on our name and telling these misnomers. We're at 51.3%. Bitches. All right, let's go down. Let's go down. I don't want to hear no more of that bullshit. Sip this motherfucking coffee here. I'll be fucked up. All right. Table number 2. Now I told you this one. Oh shit. Knock my damn bottle of ibuprofen off the table. All right. Take a deep breath. Table number 2. Number and percentage of homicides of females age greater than 18 by race and ethnicity. Now, this is not IPV. This is just homicides. Victims, relationship. Hold on. Let me go back up to table number 1. What's the title of this? Okay. Table number 1. Okay, I guess they did two separate studies. Go back down. All right, let me just read this. All right, table number 2, number and percentage of homicides of females age 18 and over by race, ethnicity, victims, relationship to suspect, and precipitating circumstances for intimate partner violence, related deaths, National Violent Death Reporting System, 18 states, 03 to 14. Okay. Okay, I got it now. Victim suspect relationship. Current intimate partners. Whites at 81%. So for all you divestors, you swirlers, the whites is damn near leading the pack in current intimate partner violence and homicide related incidents. Blacks are coming in at 76.6%. Hispanics are coming in at 75.8%. Okay. Former intimate partners, whites 13.5, blacks 15.1, Hispanics 18.6, and other, whatever that means, whites 5.4, blacks 8.3, Hispanics 5.5. Okay. Circumstances. Victims experience violence in the past month, whites 10.8, blacks 9.9, Hispanics 15.6. Okay, precipitated by another crime, whites 10.7, blacks 12.2, Hispanics 11.3. Crime in progress, whites 52.5, blacks 56, Hispanics 56.5. Argument preceded victim's death, whites 27, blacks 30.9, Hispanics 39.9. Now watch this. This shit is crazy right here. Jealousy / lovers triangle. Whites 10.7, blacks 10.5, Hispanics 19. That's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy. Okay. I might tap into that here in a minute. Let's go up. Table number 3. Number and percentage of homicides of females aged 18 or over by race, ethnicity, victims, relationship to suspect, precipitating circumstances, and non-intimate partner violence related deaths. The NVDRS, 18 states, 03 to 14. Okay, victim suspect relationship. Acquaintances. Whites, 14.9%. Blacks, come on now, gotta do better. 29. Hispanics, 20.7. All right. Strangers. Whites, 13.9. Blacks, 15.7. Hispanics, 24.1. Come on now, what happened to La Raza? So with that. other person known to victim. Now the whites, blacks pretty even right here. Whites at 15.4, blacks at 15.7, Hispanics at 13.8. All right, parents. So for you parents killing your kids, whites at a staggering 18.7, blacks at a 12. Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. That's La Raza right there. Hispanics at 5.7. Okay. So they're not killing their kids like that. Other whites at 37.1, blacks at 27.6, and Hispanics at 35.6. All right. Circumstances precipitated by another crime, i.e., assault or rape, whites 42.4, blacks 40.7, Hispanics 35.4. All right. Crime in progress. That could fall under assault or rape. But this is pretty even across the board. White 67.9, black 65.6, Hispanic 69.6. Okay, argument, preceding victim's death. What? This kind of contradicted itself. You got whites at 35.4, blacks at 41.1, Hispanics at 39.2. But it just said earlier in the other one, whatever. Okay, we got the okay, this is on Adobe. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Let me go back and just read this off real quick so we can just put the fucking capstone in this shit. And I'm gonna go from most to least in IP related homicides. That is interpersonal violence, intimate partner violence related homicides. Hispanics at 61, Pacific Islanders and Asians at 57.8, whites at 56.8, Native Americans at 55.4, and blacks at 51.3. So we're over 3 points less than the next motherfucker to us. We're in dead last when it comes to intimate partner violence. So what the fuck are they even? What? That's it. That's it. I think I've said enough. That is all. You guys enjoy your Saturday. Peace.